What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy BT, and today we've got these Chevalier Gen2 door handles that need to be installed over there on the Fisker. So we're going to go through the process of getting these installed in the fastest, easiest way possible. All right, so here we have the Gen2 handles. As you notice in the box, we've got two left-hand models right here. They're the first ones on top. But if you notice here, if you look closely, you'll see this one says LHNFC. So this is the one that is going on the driver's side. You can see how that is set up right there. So all we'll be doing is peeling off this plastic cover here and jumping right into the next steps to get this thing installed. Nice and fresh, ready to go. All right, so first up, we've got this section right here where we need to remove this piece here in order to get to two screws here. We've got one behind here and we've got one down on the bottom there. So let's go ahead and get started here. You'll need some sort of plastic pry tool, anything of your choice. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come in here and we are trying to get this piece right here popped out. So all I'm gonna do is wedge this in right here and get that released. So you can see, here's that. All right, so after we get that off, here is our T20 right there. Go ahead and take that out. All right, same ordeal. Next, again, we've got this little piece right here. So all we have to do is pry up a little bit and you'll be able to get this up. Okay, so getting that pried up here. There we go. You can see that coming out there. So we're able to pull this back like so. Then you can see those two bolts right there. So those will be our T30. Okay, so here is the trim piece here. And down up under here, there's another T20. So we'll go ahead and get that out as well. All right, so with all of those out, we should be able to go ahead and get this door card off here. So I'm just gonna take my tool, just kind of wedge it in here to kind of get a little bit of leeway. See if we can get some of this to start popping here. All right, that came off pretty quick. And so behind here, we're gonna have to disconnect these wires. All right, so behind here, we've got that cable here that we've got to disconnect from here. Just gonna pull this up like so. Pull that around, pull that out, and then disconnect this harness right here, pushing down on this clip. So we're gonna push down on that right there to get that harness separated. And then we should have the door card off. All right, so with that done, door card's off, we can move on to the rest of the steps. All right, so you can see where those mounting points are that were taken off. There's one there, one there, one there, one there. So we're good to go now. Now we need to get behind here to get this door released, swap it out. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna peel this back. So I'm just gonna pull on it and just use this trim tool here to kind of break up, separate the glue from the door. Nice and clean. Because we're gonna reattach that right back into place when we're done. All right, so I'm gonna just push this out of here so that I can bend this back some more. So this is the way that the door is sitting inside. So we see we've got 1, 2, 3 holes. That's it. We've got to disconnect these connectors off of here. And then we've got 3 screws in. That's basically it. So the instructions did mention to take off the glass, but I don't think we're gonna do that today. We're gonna try to get around this without touching the glass. So we're gonna go ahead and see how we can get this done. So the door goes in like this, goes in this way. these are actually facing this way. So this goes in that way. We've got 3 spots right there. So let's go ahead and see what we can get done here. All right, so up inside you can kind of see where our access points are. There's 1 screw there. And then if you look up here, there's 1 screw there. The problem child is coming here because inside there is the glass. So trying to figure out how to get this thing out without taking the glass out. I did take the rest of this cover off just so I can get more access here to see what's going on inside. But let's see if there's a way to take this out without removing the glass. All right, so every tool really does have its purpose. Don't let anyone tell you that you have too many tools. This right here will do the job. That offset right there is enough to get up in there and to remove that 10 millimeter. So now we're going to unscrew them and pull out the door handle. All right, so before we fully take that out, what we're going to need to do is lock the door so that the door handles will go down. So we're going to take a flathead here and let the car believe that it is in the lock position. So there we go. That's locked now. So then we're just going to get our key, close the door so the handle will go in. Okay, so now that the handle is flush, now we can finish pulling it out. All right, so with the 3 bolts out now, we can go ahead and we can maneuver this thing downward here. So here we have it down, and I'm going to show you the connections. All right, so here are the connections we have to take off. So we're going to just flip up these tabs here and pull these cables off. That's 1, 2, and then this one we're going to pull back, press down. That's 3, and then the last thing here is to take this out here. So we're going to just pull this up like so, and then twist it around and slide it out. Nice and easy. There we go. So here is the old. It is now out. And here is the new, which is now going in. So just do the reverse steps and you should be well on your way. So I'm going to put this in here first. Then we're going to get that cable here. We're going to get that cable situated. Okay, got the cable in place, snapped in. Next, just reattach our wires here. Got 3 plugs to put in here. 1, 2, and 3. And now that those are in place, we're just gonna slide this back up and get the screws put back in. All right, once you've tightened these bolts by hand, go ahead and grab your nice offset right here. Tighten them down. Make sure your handle's adjusted right where you want it, and then snug it in place. All right, so with everything in place, I think we're ready to go ahead and test the operation of the door handle. All right, so if you're happy with the way that's come out, now we can go ahead and wrap up we're basically going to redo what we undid, wrap up this door, put the door card back on, and move on to another door. And don't forget to put the plugs back in. All right, now we're on to the rear. So we're gonna do the same steps yet again. We're gonna go ahead and pry out this cover here. I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up right here as well. So behind here, you can see we have two things to disconnect again. The cable and this harness plug right here. Okay, on this we see we have this cross brace going across and this clip here. So I'm gonna try to get this clip. We can get one side of this thing out. We can pull it out. All right, we're just gonna yank on this, see if we can, there we go. Okay, so we just pulled that out. And we're gonna take this brace off here. These look like they are the T20. Just gonna take this off. Okay, now, so with that out of the way, we're able to separate this just like we did the other side. Okay, so this should be good enough to kind of get in here and do what we need to do. All right, so with this, it is a much straighter shot to getting these out. We're actually gonna switch out our tool connections here. We're gonna take these plugs out, one here, and we should be able to quickly access the bolt here, here, and right there for a quick, easy swap out. All right, so before we get too far ahead, we're gonna go ahead and trigger this door here so we can close the handle. And this should be quick and easy. The only thing we need is to make sure you have a long enough extension to get this all the way in there. All right, so we were able to get that down, so pull this out like so. Unplug, only two plugs on this side. New one. And just like that, we're ready to reinstall. That one was a bit too easy, huh? That one was really quick. Okay, now we're going to check our adjustments here. Next, we're going to reinstall this piece right here. All right, next, we're going to reinstall this piece right here before we put the door card back on. Last thing, insert this. Okay, now with everything in place, open the door, release the handle, get this lock ready to go, close it up. Now we've got both sides done here on the left-hand side. You've got all the information you need to go ahead and get the rest of this car done. You see how easy it is to do the front and then the rear. It's really not too difficult of a job. Just take your time while you're doing it, and you should be able to knock this thing out. It's your boy BT. Thank you for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.